A very good evening. We are going to discuss today about the 11th National Conference of the Institute of Internal Auditors, Sri Lanka. To discuss about this, today we have joining with me is the President of the Institute of Internal Auditors of Sri Lanka, Mr. Muzawwir Manzir, and a chairperson of the IIA National Conference, Charit Leelaratna. Now, the Institute of Internal Auditors of Sri Lanka have organized the 11th National Conference, which is set to take place on the 13th of August here in Colombo. Now, the event will be held under the theme Transforming Internal Audit, Leading with Intelligence, Integrity and Impact in the AI Accelerated Era. So, my first question to you, Muzawwir, how do you think, or tell us briefly about IIA Sri Lanka, the organization, and the significance of this national conference?
Thanks for having us for this interview today. Institute of Internal Auditors of Sri Lanka is a part of a global arm, and where it has 260,000 members and representing 117 countries. And Sri Lanka is one of that, and we have around 350 members at the moment. So this is about our organization, and we actually our organization consists of internal auditors. So we are comprised of our member base is internal auditors, and the conference we have is more relevant for the internal auditors. So 11th National Conference is going to happen in Cinnamon Life, and where we expect around 450 participants this time conference to attend at Cinnamon Life Lumina Ballroom. So basically the conference is about bringing actually future ready internal auditors. So because we were hearing about AI and various fraud, cybersecurity and sustainability, rapidly changing environment, and how we make our internal auditors future ready. That is about.
Absolutely. Now, my second question to you, Mr. Charit, what is different about this year's conference? What is significant?
Yeah, this is happening for the 11th time rather. So our conference is our flagship event. So when we design our event, what we wanted to understand was what is happening in the global markets, what is happening in our own country. So we understood that there are a lot of areas that the profession has to evolve in response to the market challenges that takes place. So we design our themes in order to address this. So we always talk about this AI is coming into the picture and how the auditors are getting the transformation done and everything. So our theme was developed basically coming into this in an AI era, how we are going to lead with integrity, intelligence and impact, because we think intelligence is an important term in terms of the auditor's work, and then it comes to the integrity is where your professional judgment, professional skepticism, everything that matters in your decision making, and then how the auditors are going to create impact, because boards are looking for that, because ultimately all the internal auditors are reporting to board audit committees, the directors. So how are you executing your job in that is entrusted to you at the end of the day? So this is what our conference is going to deliver to our auditors. So that is why we are selecting our theme and delivering on that.
In the theme, we are talking about transformation. Why do you say that internal auditing needs transformation?
Yeah, it's actually very important questions to explore. Now, traditionally, how the internal auditor is being looked is like we always like looking at what went wrong than what going to be wrong. So what went wrong is something like it's like a post-mortem, like after things happens and you try to figure it out why that things happens, and then you try to figure out a root cause and you try to resolve it. But rapidly changing environment where with this AI support and where you have the information instantly available, and also earlier to make decision it takes amount of time and you have to have board meetings and stuff to decide, but now it's not like that. You have information ready, you have AI produced responses, and you have to instantly make decision and you have to go forward. So similarly, internal auditor also has to be prepared for it. So then the transforming is very much essential from what went wrong and for them to identify what is going to be wrong, and prepare themselves how to respond for that. So that's why the transformation is very key for internal auditor.
Basically, with regards to controls and compliance.
Yeah. So actually, control and compliance is remain as part of it doesn't change. But actually, the way now they are going to transform is actually how they are going to be future ready, right? So controls and compliance, like controls are put in place, and compliance are the ones actually to be perform according to the control. Those are like what you have identified as a risk. But now actually you have to transform from there that what is going to be wrong and what kind of controls you can put in place before it's going to be wrong. So this is what the transformation is required.
The next question is, Mr. Charit, now AI seems to be everywhere today. What does AI actually mean for an internal auditor?
There are two sides to it. Because organizations adopt AI, that's one side of it. So as an internal auditor, how are you capable enough to give an assurance to your board about the adoption itself? Because that's what you're expected to do. And those complex algorithms that we talk about, complex languages, everything. So it's a challenge. On the other hand, internal auditor cannot remain over a long period of time on the traditional manual methods that were you adopting. Because now you need to embrace technology. Because when your organization is adopting AI, you cannot wait without adopting AI. So as an auditor, you have two roles to play. One is look at what your organization is doing in terms of AI, and then the other one is how as an auditor you adopt AI within your organization, within your system, and then you give results to your audience or the directors and the management and everyone. So that's the challenge that we are having.
Will these issues be discussed at the conference?
Yes, absolutely. Because that's why we themed on three areas. The intelligence, which will talk about the analytics, and then the AI itself, and the adoption, the journey. And then we also not going to remain on that. We want to talk about the transformations that the organization have gone through. So we have speakers who have done it elsewhere. The Sri Lankans, we should be proud of. So they have done it elsewhere, so they are coming and bringing their knowledge here. And then we also have a segment on understanding to make that impact. How you look at how your boards will feel about the impact you create. That's another area that we are looking at. And then it's not only about intelligence and impact alone. When you are dealing with AI, it's about integrity as well. So how do you deal in a manner that will not challenge your professional judgment when you are using AI? You should have your professional skepticism and run your show. So that's the area that we are going to cover.
Talking about professional skepticism, a key trait, isn't it? So why does it become more important than AI? Is it important than AI?
Actually, the professional skepticism is something that that the level that you go and question stuff, right? Now let's put this example. Let's say now we get AI generated content, right? How far you are going to challenge that AI generated content? Now just because computer generated, are you comfortable? Let's say now you may be getting your telephone bill from a vendor, right? So it will always say that computer generated. Are you actually still satisfied? Okay, it's a computer generated, it would be perfect.
Absolutely
no, right?
Not, yes.
You will be actually try to see that if there is a charges have come, so why that charges have come. So similarly, internal auditors also, when these AI answers are keep producing, so they also should be having questioning mindset. As they were doing it in the past, when they see a manual document, they question the process owners, they question the management, they even question maybe some director level if it is required to be. So similar way, when the AI is just producing answers and you seems to be, it seems to be correct, no, like your professional skepticism cannot be go down. You should be keep asking question, right? So this is where the people should be, internal auditors should elevate themselves, and they have to acquire certain skills in order to build this professional skepticism when the AI produce answers. Similarly, like AI can generate answers, but who is responsible for it, right? So who is having the accountability? Still actually accountability remains with internal auditors.
Yes, that makes, I think for the viewers, that is a very important message that we discussed here. And at the same time, I think with the AI era, we should always try to develop these type of characteristics with ourselves when we are engaging or when we are as professionals, I believe, in the internal auditing field. Do you have any comments about that?
Yeah. Now, for example, now let's say you get an answer from AI and you have to actually challenge it back, right? Because AI also is a tool that is developed with certain algorithm. So this algorithm, how it works, the auditor should be questioning that, right? Because the way it is responded, which reference its take is, what kind of resources it's using, what kind of source data it's using. So completeness of those source data. These are something is relevant. The auditors keep on questioning it before they come to a conclusion. Even, I don't know, have you ever tried it? Ever AI produce answer, if you just put a message asking it, what is the confidence level of your response on this? It will give you a rating. Sometimes shockingly, it will say that 10 out of 5. So that itself is producing an answer that AI producing answer itself is actually doubt about it. So I think there should be kind of validating knowledge skills the auditor should develop. Maybe it is relevant to everyone else as well, not only for auditors. Yeah.
Now let's talk about the conference, the main event organized by IIA. Who can attend this event? Is it only for internal auditors?
No, it's open for the directors, the audit committee members, because they are the people who oversee the work of the internal auditors, and they see mostly what the auditors are doing. So that's another community that needs to attend this event. And then the risk and compliance professionals, because we talk a lot of relevant areas, although we in two different lines of business we talk similar language. So that's another set of people who can participate into this event. And then anyone who is having a public interest about the governance, the controls, the control environments, the business leaders, because I would always recommend even your chief operating officers attending this, because they are the people who oversee the business. They know to know what their auditors are doing, what their auditors are supposed to do. And we have luckily few registrations on that aspects as well. So the business leaders have started to understand the auditing is a value driven exercise. So we want our auditors to have that ability to go back to the community, go back to your business organization and impart that value, and not just sit in there. So just add that value to your organization. So that's why we want to spark this.
Amazing. How is the profession developing in Sri Lanka?
Actually, Institute of Internal Auditors Sri Lanka, as I previously quote, we have around 350 members exist here in Sri Lanka, and it's keep growing, and I could see the attention to the internal auditors are getting high because they wanted to acquire skills, and where the Institute of Internal Auditors, when the people becoming a member, will have access to lot of resources. Now, for given example, everyone talk about how to use artificial intelligence, but our institute is only talking about how to manage the risk of using artificial intelligence. So because everyone talk about AI, but because the things that are coming out from AI is sometimes pretty dangerous. So then how to govern it, how to put it into a framework and getting governed is actually produced by our Institute of Internal Auditors. So becoming a member, getting those knowledge is critical. So that's why I'm just giving you an example, but it's plenty of benefits they will have it. So once they become member, and in Sri Lanka actually we have around 350 members, and it's keep growing it. And also most importantly, our Institute of Internal Auditors Global have launched a student member mechanism.
Student body.
Yeah, because what they identified is now students is going to be the future internal auditors. So let them bring in also to the part of this fraternity. So we have universities who have enrolled their university students as a student member of our organization. So there are around 95 students actually got enrolled from University of Kelaniya, and also we are discussing with some of the other universities also where we can actually try to bring them on board for this program, and where this program actually having those students having the international access to resources where they can learn how the risk can be managed, and they will have a lot of resources to access, and they can apply for their studies as well as mostly if you see that those university students will be the intern of a professional organization, maybe working environment, we call it, audit firms, it can be corporates, it can be, they can join, when they join as an internal auditor's intern, they will have basic knowledge of internal audit standard, what is about. So in Sri Lanka at the moment, we are in making progress, tying up with organization and having a good progress. In addition to that, we also collaborate with certain institute like CA Sri Lanka, Chartered Institute of Sri Lanka, which has huge numbers in terms of accountant being produced. So that institute have tied up with Institute of Internal Auditors under memorandum of understanding, and those members have got a privilege to do CIA challenge exam to become certified internal auditor. So our organization works in two parts. One is actually becoming a member of Institute of Internal Auditors. There are certain eligibility criteria for that, but after you enroll, they offer certain professional qualification which is globally recognized. Now one of that qualification is called certified internal auditor. So this certified internal auditor has three parts of exam: part 1, part 2, part 3. But if you are a member of Chartered Institute of Sri Lanka, you need to go through only one paper, which is called CIA Challenge Exam, which comprise of all these three parts, but they are getting a privilege because they are already a professional body, qualified body. So then we had actually tie up with global arm offering this benefit to CA Sri Lanka members, so they can become certified internal auditors. So in Sri Lanka, this is our stand at the moment. So we are hoping to grow future as well and increasing more members, more qualified certified internal auditors.
I think that makes you industry ready already.
Yeah, correct.
Yes, absolutely. And let me ask from Charit, what opportunities are available for a professional if they are seeking an internal audit, a professional qualification in internal auditing?
Because it's immense, right? So for me now, I represent a lot of global bodies. I am one of the members of the Global Guidance Council, which basically do all the guidance for internal auditor profession. So like that, the qualified people with, especially with certified internal auditor and other certification, there are immense opportunities. I think of our members who are certified, only few remains in Sri Lanka actually. So most we have about 10 or so in Sri Lanka. All the others have gone abroad because the opportunities are immense. The globally it's been looked at as a qualification because that's, we call it the gold standard in internal auditing, the certification. So there's, the pathway is immense, and the challenge is now traditionally internal auditing was accountant's job, but today it has transformed. Now you see IT guys coming into the field, tech guys are coming in, engineers are coming in. So there are a lot of development in the profession itself. So there is a lot of opportunity in terms of internal auditors to get that knowledge in. So that's where the profession is heading towards. So opportunities are immense if you are qualified, if you are certified and all. So that's why we are working with the Department of Management Audit, the government arm of internal auditors. So we have a MOU with them. So we want to scale their operation. We want to enrich them with these skills because we are working on those channels as well. So we do our training programs. We try to encourage our participants in learning new areas and adopt the global internal audit standards in Sri Lanka as well.
So Charit, what can participants expect from the event by attending the national conference?
The number one is the knowledge that you take home, the opportunity that you to learn about different dimensions. So we have our partners coming in, so they will bring the global ideas, and then also we have 2 speakers coming from abroad experience, so and our own legacies who have been in the internal audit, who have been doing remarkably different things. We are bringing technology guys who are in Sri Lanka, so they will bring different perspectives. And if you look at our keynote speaker, he is Mr. Yasas Sevage, who is an ideator and entrepreneur. He is the current chairman of Industrial Development Board. So he brings a different perspective. He is not an internal auditor. So we wanted to get our members to understand and the participants together to understand what these auditors are expected to do and what is globally being expected, what is the expectation from the entrepreneurs, what is the expectation from boards. So all these views. So that would be the take home. And on top of that, they will have the ability to engage with our partners, understand what are the new technologies available globally, and get themselves ready for that. And then also you have a professional network with whom you are dealing here, so you will get to know your fellow internal auditors who are in the profession, because in an organization the internal auditor is most isolated because you deal in a isolated manner. So you can meet your fellow professionals, build your network, build your knowledge, so then you have a person always to mentor you and to go to and all that. So a participant can expect a lot of things and a lot of benefits, as I mentioned in the conference.
Absolutely. If we talk about one industry, one vision.
So I think the answer for that would be very simple. The reason is in our conference also there are around 100 organizations that participate, which has different industries. It can be bank, finance, non-bank finance, and insurance, and manufacturing to service organization. But all we call internal auditors, we can think about risk can be different, but actually at the current era, AI, cybersecurity, fraud, sustainability, these are more common for them. So that's why we call it one vision. So let's, as an internal auditors, we come together and try to see that what we can do and how we can prepare ourselves for future ready. So that's what it's about.
Charit, now for someone who cannot attend the conference physically, how can they join the event?
Actually, our conference tickets are almost sold out. So we opened a virtual registration link as well for those who are abroad and for people who want to cover their CPDs, which is a professional requirement in terms of your learning arts. So we have opened virtual registrations as well now. So we are getting a few virtual registrations. We have a limited number of registrations open though, but it's coming in. So people who, if you are unable to attend physically, you are always free to attend virtually as well.
Amazing. So finally, I would like to ask this question from the both of you. What would you like to, as a message from the both of you, what would you like to give for our viewers regarding the event, or maybe overall regarding the profession, internal auditing, and the event overall? What is your comment? What's your message?
So for me, I would say that technology can give us the intelligence, but it cannot give integrity. It has to be actually the human who gives the integrity. And AI can generate responses, but responsibility and the accountability lies with auditors, or rather with us, actually I could say. So please join us on 13th August with the theme that we plan: intelligence, integrity, and impact. And let's explore together, what impact that we can create by get together. And there are a lot of speakers who are attending this conference, speakers and expertise who is actually going to share that how we can shape and challenge and shape this environment, and how to overcome the challenges. So let's join together on 13th August.
So for the viewers, what I have to tell is, every one of you is an internal auditor. It may be at one point in your life, or it may be a regular occurrence. So you would be checking your utility bills, you would be checking your other grocery bills and everything. So this is part of what auditors do. And if you look at a lot of problems in the country, what we are seeing to is not through effective internal auditing. So always embrace the profession. You might not be engaged directly in the profession, but when you see an auditor, have that respect, have that courage to get your children into the path, because it's a nice area to learn a lot about the organizations, a lot about the processes and everything. So it's the message that I want to give to the wider audience in terms of doing it. And in terms of our participants for the conference, so we are looking forward to meet you all there, and hoping we will make another successful event this time as well.
Absolutely. And I also wish the organizing committee and IIA Sri Lanka to have an absolutely fantastic event in the upcoming few days. I think it's happening on the 13th of August. So yes. And thank you so much for your time,
Thank you.
Muzawir and Charit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And viewers, thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining with us.